Daisy and I are going to be talking about our second episode of water. So we're going to start this week's episode by trying to recreate all the cool sounds that water makes. And we challenge you guys at home to try and also recreate different sounds of a storm and different sounds of water with things that you can find in your home. So Daisy, how are you going to recreate the sounds of water?
Well, I have made a homemade rain stick, and I don't know if you guys know what a rain stick is, but it's just a little tube that when you tilt it, it sounds exactly like rain pour. I have made mine just out of a paper towel roll, and I filled it with some beans. So we're gonna see if it sounds a lot like rain. There we go.
That was so cool.
Ariane, what do you have to make some water sounds?
Well, mine is a bit simpler than yours, Daisy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 water bottles and I'm going to pour some water from one water bottle to the other to imitate the sound of water falling on puddles or the ocean.
I can just feel and hear all the water sounds. Okay, so now you guys can make your own sounds for water sounds. You know, you could even snap like rain, or clapping or stomping like thunder. That's a really simple, easy thing to do that sounds actually a lot like rain and a thunderstorm. We were wondering what times that you guys have been caught in a rain or like a thunderstorm, and what it was like and what the experience was like. Ariane, do you remember a time that you were caught in rain or in a storm?
I do remember a time where I was caught in a thunderstorm. It was when I was visiting my family in Asia and we were going for a walk, and it started raining very suddenly, and it was raining really, really hard, and the winds came, and we were going out for dinner. And we were having dinner in a restaurant that was just a tent that had tables underneath it. So then the wind came and the water came, and it actually blew the tent away, and it blew other chairs and tables that had no one sitting at away. And it was a very exciting dinner.
Wow, that sounds crazy.
Have you ever been caught in a storm, Daisy?
Yeah, nothing quite as exciting as that. But I remember one time me and my family were on a walk, and we were just walking, you know, just around our neighborhood, and it started to rain, and it got really, really thundery. And I remember we were stuck outside, and we had to still walk back home, so we couldn't get out of the storm right away. And it was just so cold, all the rain just soaking our clothes. We were soaked, and it was so loud. The thunder was just cracking, and it was so loud. It was pretty scary, but once we got inside and we were dry, it was much nicer.
Mm-hmm.
So now you guys maybe can think of a time that you've been caught in the rain or in a storm and what it was like. All right, now we are going to read a story, and this is an old story from the Bible about disciples being in a storm together. This is called The Storm Calms Down.
Late in the day, Jesus said to his friends,
"Let's cross the lake to the other side."
Jesus had been teaching the crowds from a boat, so the disciples left the crowd and took Jesus just as he was. Other boats came along. Huge winds arose, and the waves crashed against the boat, so it nearly sank. But Jesus was asleep on a pillow in the back of the boat. The disciples woke Jesus up, saying,
"Teacher, don't you care that we're drowning?"
Jesus got up and ordered the wind and the lake,
"Silence, be still."
The wind ran out of breath and the water calmed down.
"Why are you scared? Don't you trust me?" Jesus said.
His friends were in awe at what happened. So So now we're going to do a craft that represents the story we just read. So we're going to do a craft that shows the waves and the thunder, and that also shows Jesus in the boat with all of his disciples and friends navigating through the scary storm. So what you're going to need for the craft is you're going to need 2 paper plates, or if you don't have paper plates, you can follow what Daisy's doing. So what are you using instead, Daisy?
Well, I didn't have any paper plates, so I just cut out a circle of cardboard. You could cut out 2 circles of cardboard, just whatever you need to replace the paper plates. But I'm also just using some paper. That'll be good. And yeah, anything that you have in your house that could be used as a paper plate.
So the other materials that you'll need is 1 popsicle stick, or if you don't have a popsicle stick, you can use a wooden chopstick like Daisy will be using, or I'm going to just be using some cardstock. You're going to need some coloring utensils like coloring pencils or markers, and you're also going to need to print out a coloring sheet that will be attached in the newsletter. So the first step is to take one of your paper plates or your cardboard, and you're going to color in the back of your paper a storm. So this is what my storm looks like. What does yours look like?
Oh, this is mine. It's a little hard to see because I colored it kind of dark, but I have all my clouds and my lightning.
So as you can see, both Daisy and I only colored half of our paper plates or circles, and that's because of our next step. So the next step is to take your second paper plate or your second sheet of paper, and across half of it, you're going to draw some waves. So I'm going to do that now so you guys can see what it looks like. So here I drew waves going across my paper plate, and now I'm going to cut along it. So after you've cut out your waves, you can also color them. So this is what mine looks like. Yours looks awesome, Daisy.
Yours looks really beautiful.
So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 pieces and you're going to glue them together like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to glue or tape along the sides, but you're not going to glue or tape the bottom, just the sides. And then after that, you can print out this coloring sheet, and you're going to cut out this bottom section right here of the boat. And if you want, you can also color it. So this is what mine looks like. Oh. So this is what mine looks like.
Oh, that looks really good, Ariane.
Thanks, Daisy. Let's see yours.
Mine looks like this. It's a little more, fun.
That looks awesome. It looks like a scary, dark storm.
Oh, yes.
So both Daisy and I left the bottom of ours open. So what we're going to do next is we cut out the boat with Jesus and the disciples. And you're going to take your popsicle stick or your chopstick, or I'm just using a long sheet of cardstock, and you're going to tape or glue it to the picture.
Okay.
So this is what mine looks like. And the next step is to put your picture and your stick into the little scene that you created through the bottom. And now you have this the scene from the story when there's the storm and they're scared, and then Jesus calms the storm.
What a cute little craft. Okay, so now we are going to color a picture that you will be able to print. That just is like a picture like the story that we read. And you can either pick a simple one or a more complex one. It's totally up to you. And while we color, we are going to just talk about the story and talk about the ocean and stuff like that. And feel free to answer our questions and even discuss other things that you think of while you color.
So, Daisy, what are some scary things about a storm? And how is it also beautiful?
Well, I think storms are really scary because they can be really loud, and thunder can be really scary, and lightning. And those big flashes and those big crashes can be really scary. I know that I get scared by thunderstorms sometimes, and that can be really scary. But it can be really beautiful because, a storm will bring rain, and, rain will water all our plants and it will keep our entire earth alive. If it didn't rain, it wouldn't, nothing would really be able to survive. And that's a really beautiful thing. And it, cleans the earth up, it gets rid of dust and dirt, and it makes everything look pretty and shiny again. So what storms can be really scary, but they can also be really beautiful in some ways.
Those are such good points, Daisy. And I completely agree with you that even though they can be scary, they're also so beautiful with all the things they create.
Mm. Ariane, the scene in the story, what do you think it would have been like to be on the boat in the storm?
I think it would have been really scary to be on the boat in the
Yeah.
story.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the disciples were really scared. The waves were rocking the boat. It was raining. They might have thought that they might have fallen off the boat or even drowned. So I think it would have been really scary.
I think so too. What do you think they would have been scared of on the boat in the storm?
I think they were probably scared of going overboard on the boat, falling over the boat into the water. But then,
Definitely.
when they asked Jesus for help and he calmed the storm, they probably felt at peace and such a relief that it ended okay. And now going forward, they probably will have more courage in these kind of situations.
That's totally true.
Because they know that if they just have faith and be courageous and brave, that it will work out.
Yeah. Ariane, why do you think more people are scared in storms or in some situations like storms than other people are?
I think it has a lot to do with our past experiences.
Oh, yeah.
So if it is your first time in a storm, you'll probably be really scared because you don't know what to expect.
Definitely.
But after you've been through a storm once and you know that it becomes better and that the sun will come out and you know that it won't last forever, you'll have a lot more courage facing the next storm.
Definitely.
Daisy, in the story, the storm can be seen as like a metaphor for just different difficult things that we face in life.
Yeah.
Can you think of a storm that's happened in your life?
Ooh, a storm that's happened in my life. That's a good question. I think that trying new things is always something scary. So it's like a storm. When we don't know what to expect and we don't know what's going to happen, that can be really scary. And it's just like facing a storm because it can be, confusing and scary and something new and different, and it can feel shaky and scary. And I think that we can all, relate to feeling scared when something new is happening. And I think that I definitely have been scared in those situations when I don't know what to expect.
That is so true, Daisy. Do you think that the second time you do something, you have a lot more courage to face it?
Yeah, for sure. I think that once, we're the nerves of doing something for the first time wear off, we're much braver and are able to, see the courage and not be so scared, even when we're doing the same thing.
I think so too.
When we read that story, we can take it to mean, and we can learn lots of things from that story, and we can learn that the story teaches us about having courage and the kind of courage that Jesus had. It's not the blind faith, but the courage to know that we have the strength to get through a lot of storms.
That is so true, Daisy. In the story, Jesus's courage wasn't that he was sleeping. That wasn't what was courageous about him. What was courageous was that he was the reason why he was sleeping. And it was because he knew and he had the faith and the courage to look beyond the storm and know that everything was going to be okay.
Yeah. That can be a really hard thing to do, but if we try to be brave, we can do it.
Sometimes it is hard to look beyond the storm because it's loud and it's scary, but we have to just be able to know that think about the future when the sun will come out, even if it doesn't look like it.
Exactly. Because things usually, and they always do, get better. How's your drawing coming along, Ariane?
I think it's coming along well. How's yours coming along, Daisy?
Oh, good, pretty good. So while you guys color, you can think of the questions we asked, or you can, think of other questions you had about the story or about water or about anything, and just thoughts that you have, and you could talk them out and just think while you do your coloring.
Yeah, at home, you guys can think about a time that you've been in a storm or just a difficult time in your life and how you navigated through it and how you found courage.
All right, everyone, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode on water and the story that we read, and we hope you loved the little craft, and we will see you next week. Bye.